We're good. Yep.
Hey everybody, welcome back to Durbin's Bourbon. I'm Joe.
And I'm Josh.
Today we're going to be doing a review of a lottery whiskey that my wife won. She has given it to me early for a birthday present that's coming up. Yes, I'm wearing glasses. It happens. I just need them to read a little better and some distance. Other than that, I really don't need them that much. But today's whiskey is Midleton Very Rare. There's two distillers at the Midleton, at the distillery where they make this. It is an Irish whiskey. It is 40% ABV or 80 proof.
Oh, I was thinking it was Scotch.
Yeah, nope, Irish.
Well, now it's registering, but for some reason. Anyways, go ahead.
It is a blended whiskey. It does have the single pot still Irish malted barley, and it has other grain whiskeys mixed with it. I did a little research beforehand on grain whiskeys because I had a misunderstanding of my own as to grain whiskey. I kept thinking it's just plain old unaged grain whiskey dumped in. The grain whiskeys that they're talking about that they put into this blended very rare release, which is done once a year, very select casks and a very small batch style, is when they say grain in Ireland, the law dictates that they have to say, if it's not a single pot still, single malt, meaning malted barley only in that whiskey, if it has anything other than that, they have to label it. It has to be stated on the label, a grain whiskey, and it's all grain based, like your regular whiskeys that everyone else drinks, bourbons. They're a grain whiskey, corn, rye, barley. So that's the other grain whiskeys in here are corn, rye, wheat, whatever their blends that they've used to get the flavor profile that they're after on this particular whiskey.
Well, I did not know that. I thought it was all barley when it said grain whiskey.
Nope. And it's other whiskeys that have grains in the mash bill.
Guess I should research stuff before I just
learn something new all the time. There's two distillers. The main distiller that's producing this now comes in a really, really nice box. Is Brian Nation, the original distiller that created this in 1984, ironically the same year that Elmer T. Lee produced Blanton's single barrel. In America, they were doing something. Barry Crockett was the original distiller that created this Midleton Very Rare, 1984, so it has been around a long time. They give it to you. They don't give it to you, let me tell you that. It's not an inexpensive whiskey. In our state, liquor control, it's around 150, I think. So it's not a cheap whiskey. Comes in a really well-made presentation magnet box. It gives you the certificate of authenticity that goes in here. Kind of cool. It is a very, very neat box. I'm sure you're paying for that in some of the cost. The age of whiskeys that are in this blend are anywhere from 12 years old all the way up to 32 years old. Some of the oldest, the 32s, they have quite a high ratio, but some of the other information I was able to find on it, there's a lot of 23, 26 year whiskeys that are brought into this blend to get that flavor that they are hunting with that unique blend every year. So the Barry Crockett was the original distiller. Now Brian Nation is the one that's producing it now. He studied underneath Barry Crockett. That's a little history.
Any relation to Davy?
I doubt. Well, you never know.
Maybe.
You never know.
God, it's got a great nose.
Yeah. I did, when my wife gave it to me early, I did crack it and give it a try. I was pleasantly surprised. It's got a very soft nose, all the standard Irish characteristics.
It's got depth to it though, like it's not. It doesn't smell like young. I get a lot of honey.
Yeah.
As opposed to, like, there's also the green apple.
Right. Yeah, the honey.
What's the proof again? 40?
40, yeah.
Or 80 proof, I guess.
80,
40%
40% ABV. Yeah, it's a really soft nose. And the reviews I've seen done on this up to now has been pretty consistent as people saying it's a very soft whiskey. And soft is really kind of a tough descriptor because we can tell you guys this is a soft whiskey. And you're like, well, what do you mean by soft? Buttery is another characteristic I use a lot. And I do get that out of this whiskey. I didn't really want to say it out till you tasted, but I kind of cat's out of the bag on that. With a lot of the older whiskeys, they do have that really soft, buttery, creamy mouthfeel that's very smooth on the tongue. The ABV isn't really there stinging you. It's just a pleasant,
no punch to it. It's
no,
not like,
it's just
like a rye where it's spicy.
Spicy, or a really heavily aged bourbon where the oak kicks you in the teeth, or the peat that's really strong and it kicks you in the mouth. Everything's delicious. Just very smoothly commingling when you're getting a taste, so you can pick out those little nuances, and they're very subtle. So when you hear reviewers like us or some of the others that talk about a whiskey being very soft, that's kind of where they're going. It's such an easy descriptor when you drink high proof, low proof, all kinds of whiskeys. Yeah. And they're biting and stinging and stuff. Soft is a very complimentary.
And soft seems like they're more aged ones too, because it takes that youngness. Yeah. When you have like a young whiskey, it's always got like a crispy sharpness.
Right.
As opposed to smooth.
Right. And there won't be any of that in here.
They're soft, I guess.
Nice nose. Cheers. Cheers, everybody. That first taste, I actually got a little bit of burning alcohol. So I went in for a second because you're cleansing. You always would do a kind of a cleansing taste, get that palate used to that whiskey. If you've been drinking water or whatever, it's quite a difference. So,
man, it's got a different taste to it, like opposed to most of the Irish whiskeys. I can't put my finger on it.
It does. There's a little bit of oak characteristics from the casks.
Which it almost has like that. Have you ever had those whiskeys that have been aged in beer barrels? It almost has that old beer taste, not in a bad way. Like a musky kind of older.
Yeah. And that might be from, if you're putting some 32-year-old blends, 32-year-old whiskeys in there that have been sitting in casks for 32 years.
That's something I haven't gotten out of Irish before.
No, it's not a standard, typical Irish palate. It has some of the characteristics, but it has a little more depth. And for me, I might even say there might be a hint of bitter.
Yes.
A bitterness.
That's what I'm getting, like that old musky.
And it's not in a bad way.
No. It's like like I said, like, God, what was the one? I think Jameson or someone does, like, they use Guinness cask. And that one's not good to me. But it has
try that.
Has like an old beer taste to it. That has that, but in a good way, if that makes sense.
In a more rounded, soft.
It's just,
I can see that. There is a...
like an old beer barrel. It's weird.
Yeah, there's a little bitter.
I definitely get the bitter.
There's something bitter. And it could be...
Oh, God, it's a bad batch.
I hope not. They are pretty strict on how they release it. It is, I can't remember the case count. There's several cases. It's not a lot. There isn't a lot that's released yearly because of the consistency and the how picky they are, with the whiskeys that they do put in there. Are you seeing anything that's...
No, I was going to see if something jumped out that would make like that flavor kind of...
Yeah.
It's just a different... I've never got that with any whiskey. Like that same...
That characteristic.
Yeah, it's weird.
It's very pleasant on the nose. It's smooth. The nose, you have all the Irish with a little bit of barrel, but... And I'm curious as this sits and oxidizes a little bit what's going to happen, because it changes slightly. Sometimes it's not really noticeable, and other times it's definitely noticeable.
I don't know. I think the nose is better than the flavor for me. Mm-hmm. I'm not super impressed with the price point and what you're drinking.
Mm-hmm.
Imagine that like compared to like a Teeling or Tyrconnell or something. I mean, as far as price point, you know, like I
if
feel
you're
like
drinking it as a blind,
yeah,
would that flavor, would the nuances stand out against that? There's a slight bitter. It is soft. It's a very soft whiskey. I rather enjoy it. I like the uniqueness of it, and I do like the amount of care that goes into making it. For an Irish, it's very good. If you can find some, you know, I would recommend it. I think it's a good whiskey. It's probably consistent, I would imagine, from batch to batch, from year to year. Yeah. I did read a review, and they talked about the 2015 edition being exceptional. It was in a different packaging.
This is 2017, right?
This is the 2017. So I imagine from year to year, they're going to have some nuances that will be a little different. Overall, though,
I mean, it's good. I'm not saying it's not good. It's just from what I get on the nose, I expected the flavor to be different. I guess it's that. I think that bitter's throwing me off. It's a weird.
Bitter, yeah, there is a bitterness that's there, and it could be. I'm going to chalk it up probably to the tannins from the oak. That aging, that astringent kind of tannin bitterness that comes from the wood.
Like you said, it's a good unique. Definitely, I've never tasted an Irish like that.
And it's
that's
neat
good
to have something that has
completely different
challenges the palate, and you're searching for that
because it still has the regular Irish flavor too.
Oh,
there's that other that
it's all the
more
Irish
complex
with with a little bit of a kick in it.
Yeah,
I think it would be better served at a higher proof.
Right, I agree.
I think most whiskeys are better served in the mid 90s range. I don't know.
I agree.
I wouldn't add. I'm curious what water would do to it.
It's already 40.
But it's already 40. It would probably change some of that astringent. Yeah, I think it would change.
One of your dogs down here? It
is
stinky.
Can you hand the towel there?
No.
This might be dust in this.
No, I don't care. You wanted to punch me right there, didn't you?
I did, severely.
You should have. It would have been fun for you guys.
On camera. Oh, as I'm taking the dust out of our little water thing, we are fast approaching 500 subscribers.
Thank you all for subscribing and watching.
Yes. Putting up with our shenanigans. There was a point in time I thought there's no way that us two clowns are gonna hit that kind of popularity, but you all have somebody wants to give some water a try now.
Weird.
Thank you for that. So if you're just tuning in, hit the subscribe button. It doesn't cost you anything. It's free. You're not going to get inundated with emails and everything else. You will get notified.
We don't know how that works.
No, you would get notified if you hit the little bell icon in the lower portion of your screen. If you hit that,
you say icon.
Icon, I might have.
You'll get not a D at the end of icon.
No D, just icon.
That's all right.
You'll get a notice when we put out videos. We do put them out every single Saturday, but we are really, really appreciative of you all out there subscribing, commenting, and just following us and watching. It's been really fun so far. We've been at this for a little over a year now. That pulled some of the, actually opened up some of the nose.
That actually is better. I just put one drop in there.
Yeah, I did too.
Unless it's just because it's been sitting too, opened up a little bit. It's even
that astringent, bitter character is still there, but it's
not. Yeah.
Huh.
Weird.
A little bit of water. brings out some of the character in the older whiskeys, I think, and lessens some of that, maybe that barrel char and stuff.
Actually, that's nice.
Yeah, that made it even smoother.
Softer,
yeah. So I'd recommend it if you're a collector and you want a very unique one, 2017 edition. If you can snatch maybe some of the older ones, it would be worth having. I don't think that you're going to have too much luck. They're not out there. It seems like they're purchased up pretty quick and they stay into collections.
Well, and like you said, it's such a different tasting Irish whiskey. It's nice to have.
It is.
You know, I didn't really particularly like it right at first, but now it's kind of grown on me already. So I can imagine tasting it a few more times. I'd probably really like it.
Right. Yeah, it's definitely a good one to have. Remember to hit the subscribe button. Follow us. We're on Instagram and Facebook. Comment. We love to have the comments down there. Plus, it lets us know you're actually watching the videos to the end.
Till the end.
And if you are just tuning in, hit the subscribe button, please. We love it.
Appreciate it.
Fun, and we very much appreciate everybody out there. We should do something kind of cool, maybe for 500.
Sounds like a lot of work.
But anyway, as always, enjoy your whiskeys and bourbons
Any way you like.
Cheers, everybody.
Cheers.